One day, every day will be Friday, no. We got just to celebrate, oh. Like saying now you're Friday, no. My baby, one day, breakfast on the jet, you know. Cruising as we jet, oh. That day,
Welcome,
today,
y'all.
you know.
Come on.
Big things are happening now. More this, more that, more grace, oh. More cash, more babes, oh. More cars. Big things are happening now. More this, more that, more grace.
Welcome back to Nzali Takes Africa. I am Nzali and I help Black millennial women create the life that they deserve. And if you want to do that on the African continent, then this is definitely the channel for you. Oh, welcome. So yes, don't forget to always like the channel. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and you can leave us a comment in the chat. I will always respond back, definitely. And the people on this channel actually like to engage with each other in the comments, so we don't want to tussle in the comments, but we want to share our experiences. So I am super excited that you all decided to join me today because we are in the midst of our 12 days of Christmas, Ghana edition. Each day I am dropping a video with a place or a destination that you must see. These places are Nzali approved, which means I have been there. I have taken people there. I enjoy the place. And I think you will too. So definitely, send some friends this way if they're thinking about going to Ghana, or if they have already taken a trip and they're like, wait, I haven't been there yet. This is the place for them. So day one, we talked about Accra, and today is day 2. And I promised you that in day 2, we were leaving Accra and we were going to a whole nother region in the country. That region is the Central region. And I told you all yesterday that some of y'all need to go ahead and drop in the comments where you think we're going in the Central region. Okay, I'm just going to give you a second. Think about it. Marinate. Let it marinate. Let it marinate. Doom. Okay, so the Central region of Ghana, you can get to the Central region, let's say in like 2 hours from Accra, maybe 2 hours. You can at least get into the Central region. Now, the area that we're going in the Central region today for day 2 of 12 days of Christmas, it can take you like 3.5, 4, maybe 5 hours, depending on if there is traffic or not. And that place is Cape Coast and Elmina. Now, everybody knows that Ghana has some national historical sites that are UNESCO sites as well. And the reason that it's important that I mentioned that these are UNESCO sites, that means that the government has taken an interest in preserving and making sure that these sites are basically acknowledging that these are a part of world history, global history, and we want to preserve these. And these particular sites have a very unique connection to Africans who are in the diaspora, because these historical sites are the last places that our ancestors saw before they were transported to what is now the Americas, whether that's Jamaica, Brazil, South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, wherever the place may have been. These were the last places that they saw when they were being trafficked, right? We're going to call it what it was. It was human trafficking. And so, like I said, the government of Ghana has acknowledged these places as historical sites, and they preserve them as such. Okay, so if you've ever seen anything about Ghana, you have seen people take a trip to Cape Coast and Elmina, because that's where they have the 2 slave castles. I call them slave dungeons because my ancestors did not live in the castle part of it all, which was the 2nd level. They resided in the dungeons. So they have the slave dungeons there. There's one in Cape Coast, and then there's one in Elmina. Both of them serve the same purpose. Originally, I think the one in Elmina was like a fort of some sense that then also became a place where they housed slaves as they transported them off to the ships that would take them across the Atlantic. So both of those are located there. Again, depending on your driver, depending on traffic from Accra, you can get there within 3.5, 4, 5 hours if there's really bad traffic, right? And so this is something that you can do in a day. Get up really early in the morning, and I would say try to get to Cape Coast by like 10 or 11. Go and see the Cape Coast dungeon. Then you can go and see the Elmina dungeon, or you could decide I just want to see one. 2 is too much for me, right? But that is where you'll be able to get back in the same time. However, some people really do what do I say? How do I say it? Some people want it to be more than a day. Some people like the idea of staying overnight. So they don't want to rush in and rush back to Accra. They really want to take their time because it can be a lot, right? And so something that is more of a newer site, it's been around for a while, but I think people have taken more of an interest in this particular site. This is Asin Manso, and Asin Manso is where they have the last bath. And you actually reach Asin Manso before you get to Cape Coast in Elmina. It actually is Asin Manso, then Cape Coast, then Elmina when you're talking about distance. And so when we think about the slave trade, this is how it basically went. They would transport people from the north and other regions throughout Ghana, as well as from other countries throughout Western Africa. They would move them down throughout the country, and they would stop at what is Asin Manso. And so with Asin Manso, we have the last bath. This is where in this river, they would have the slaves wash themselves before they continued their final trek to what is the dungeon, which is what I'll show you a little bit later. So this place here is what they now call Slave River, the last bath. And this is where when you go there, they do have people who will take you down to the water. This is like one of the entryways. They'll take you down to the water. They'll say a few things. So for some people, it can be very emotional. For myself, it made me want to like go in. I got very quiet. I didn't have a lot to say. And so basically at this point, when you go, they'll allow you to get in the water a little bit, not too much, right? We don't want any accidents, but they'll allow you to get in the water. There'll be a guide that will say a few things for you. They will take you in a straight line. They do ask that you wear white. They'll take you in a straight line as if you're basically taking the same walk that your ancestors took, and you have the last bath. Now, of course, you're not going to go woo and dump yourself in, but get your feet in, that type of thing. And then they'll bring you back up, and there is like a historical wall. And if your group wants to leave some type of offering, a wreath or something at Slave River, you can do so at the memorial site. So that's actually the first place that you'll get to. And once you finish up at Slave River, similar to similar to our ancestors, then you will also make your way to what is the Cape Coast dungeons, right? Or Cape Coast castles. And now you, of course, are traveling in a car, but in this instance, for our ancestors, they did not travel in cars. They were actually making the trek to this place. And so when you see here, this place is actually quite big. You see that there are multiple levels to the slave dungeon. This place that you see where I'm standing is actually on top of the dungeons. And so I do have pictures in the dungeon. They're very dark, so I didn't want to show those. And I want to leave something for you when you come. But basically, these top floors and where you see me are where the Europeans were. So the governor, his aides, all of that is where is the top part. This place has beautiful views, very airy, very spacious, right? And then under this is where our ancestors were, which are the dungeons. So when you go here, there is a little fee you pay, and then there will be a guided tour guide that will take you through and give you the history of this location, what happened to the people that were transported through here. They will also take you through the door of no return. And of course, you will return, right? And I think that it is it's a beautiful moment when you go back through those doors. So like there's a part like this picture here that I actually have is my first visit to Ghana, which was in 2016, December 2016. I now live in Ghana, of course, but this is my very first trip. And when you go through that door of no return, that was the last door that your ancestors went through, right? And for you, especially as a diasporan who has made it back home to re-enter through that door, it really does do something to you because you're like, I made it. It's almost like a cycle complete. Like I felt like what you thought would destroy us only made us stronger. You know, only made us more resilient and nanny boo boo, bitch. I'm at, excuse me, I don't know if I'm gonna get demonetized, but that's how I felt. That's how I felt like, nanny boo boo, I'm back and did it. Thought you was gonna get it. Thought you had me. The devil thought he had me. He thought my life was over, and it wasn't. And it worked out in my favor. Okay, I'm gonna let it go. But yes, that's how it makes you feel. It makes you feel like I made it. And it gives you like this sense of like power and like just a renewed energy, almost like renewed energy in yourself and your people and your plight as a people. And it really is a beautiful experience. I do want to say that the views from this place are actually breathtaking. So when you go and you go down to the dungeon where it's just darkness, and then you see the stark difference with the upper portion where it's so much light, is so beautiful with like the scenery. I just want to give you a quick visual. So this is at the top. When you know the picture I showed you with my fist up, that was facing the dungeons, right? So you see it. But when you turn the camera around, this is the view. Miles of beautiful ocean, right? And it's so beautiful. And when you go up into that castle, they have different lookout points that are breathtaking. And so it just shows you how much of a difference it was for our people versus the people who were committing crimes against humanity. And so this place is, again, one of those places where you have to go. Like you have to experience it for yourself. Everybody has a how do I say it? A different experience, a different connection. But I know for me, it gave me that like invigoration, that like, yes, like, whoo, you know, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. Like we made it back. And even if your ancestry isn't particularly Ghanaian, it's the symbolism of it. Like I made it back when they thought I wouldn't. They thought they had me. And so I always encourage people. Some people feel like, oh, it's so far, I'm not going to make it on the first trip. Forget that. Take one of your nights of partying out and make sure that you go down to Cape Coast. Like I said, there's also one in Elmina that you can see. But basically, both of them serve the same the same function in a sense. So if you are a person who wants to see both, then I definitely would also recommend that you stay overnight. And one of the places that I really love to stay when I'm in Cape Coast, and I'll be very honest with y'all, I don't really like a lot of accommodation places in Cape Coast. I don't think that they meet the standard that I would like to stay in, but this particular one does. I first went to this place like on a solo trip, and I just like went for my birthday, and I was just relaxing, like kicking it by myself just at the beach. But then I've gone there plenty of times after that. And let me pull it up. Let me see if I can get a picture of it for y'all. Let me see. Let me see your pictures. I know that song is some other things, but we're not going there today. All right, come on now. Let me see if I can get you a picture of my favorite place to stay when I am in the Cape Coast Elmina area. This particular location is actually located in Elmina. It's not in Cape Coast. And Elmina is maybe like 15 minutes. 15 minutes. There were some diasporans who actually had really good accommodation places. Mama Africa was one of them, but she actually moved to Rwanda. So One Africa is no more, but that was my go-to. But now my second place that is Nzali approved is Lemon Beach Resort. And I actually really like Lemon Beach Resort because they have the rendezvous chalets, and they are made from the natural materials. They're very like, it feels like you're in a little African village, right? And I can say it's an African village because I've actually lived in the village, and so I know what that looks like. Okay, thank you. But my people who gonna come in and you don't know what to say. How you gonna say it's the village? You don't know. I do know. I lived in a village for a year and a half plus. Thank you very much. So it gives you like luxury African village. And so it is right on the beach. It is in Elmina. It's very comfortable. And so if you want to stay overnight, so let's say one day you do Asin Manso and Cape Coast, go check in at Lemon Beach. The next day you do the Castle at Elmina. And then there is one more place in Central Region that I want to take y'all to. But I'm not going to give it to you today. We're going to go there on day 3. I'm going to give you a clue, though. This place in Central Region is for the adventure girlies. This is for the people who, are in shape. You be going to the gym, you like a little adventure, you like a little bit of excitement. So make sure you come on back for day 3 and figure out where else we are going in the Central Region that is a little bit more adventurous. All right, y'all. Until next time, I love y'all. Stay blessed. Again, every day up until Christmas, we are highlighting another place that is Nzali approved. Day 1, we were in Accra. Day 2, we've been in the Central Region visiting the Cape Coast and Elmina Castles. Day 3, we are still in Central Region. But where are we going? Make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment down below if you have been to the Cape Coast dungeons or the Elmina dungeons and you have had a personal experience there that you want to share. Drop it down in the comments. On your first trip, how did it make you feel? If you've gone to Asin Manso and you've taken that last bath, what was that like for you? And then, we'll chit chat in the comments. All right. So like, share, subscribe. Also follow me on Instagram. It's the same as the YouTube channel. Nzali Takes Africa. Until next time, bye. Day 3. Coming up.